Hey, friend, welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I'm your host, Heather. I've been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009, making my show 15 years old, the original Tudor podcast. Lots of celebratory events going on starting in March, actually. In just a couple days, I'll be announcing some of the fun things we're doing to celebrate the 15-year anniversary of my podcast this year. In the meantime, here we are on my YouTube channel where I post all of my episodes from all of my shows, as well as lots of extra content like this video right here. So it is still Love Month. I'm going to do this because I think it's super fun. Look, the hearts appear. It's like magic. It is still Love Month for one more day, and then we're going on to Women's History Month. And today we are going to talk about the intersection of courtly love and matchmaking, because I wanted to do a video on both of them, and then I ran out of time. So I put it into one. I combined it. So we're going to talk about courtly love and matchmaking. Let's get right into it. So, of course, courtly love played a pivotal role in shaping the intricate dynamics of the Tudor court life and the relationships between the nobility. The romantic ideal, with its roots deeply embedded in the chivalric traditions of medieval Europe, found fertile ground in the Tudor court, where it flourished amidst all of the pageantry, poetry, and politics of the era. Courtly love was characterized by its highly ceremonial expression, its adherence to a set of unspoken rules. It was more than romantic fancy, it was a complex social ritual that dictated interactions between men and women, often transcending physical attraction to embody ideals of love, bravery, and service. The court of Henry VIII, with its opulent festivities, jousts, masks, provided an ideal stage for the enactment of these courtly rituals, where noble men and women engaged in a very delicate flirtation and favor, often under the watchful eye of the monarch. And of course, this is where you see people have to write poems to their beloved, this woman who is so high up that they will never be able to attain any kind of relationship with her. She's so out of reach, and they write these poems, and it was all just part of this kind of code that everybody knew the rules to. If you were kind of just dropped there, you wouldn't know what was going on, but they all knew the rules to this because it was part of their society and they grew up with it. Literature of the time, particularly the works of Sir Thomas Wyatt and the Earl of Surrey, brought the nuances of courtly love to life, weaving tales of unrequited love, noble sacrifice, and the valorization of the beloved. These poetic expressions, drawing on sonnets in the form of Petrarch, super popular in Italy, resonated very deeply within the Tudor court, echoing the complex interplay of desire and duty that characterized these aristocratic liaisons. Of course, sometimes they got into trouble, and that's what happened with Anne Boleyn and her admirers. She perhaps thought she was playing the game of courtly love, but in fact, it got a little bit out of hand, one could say. Let's move on. Parallel to these idealized pursuits of courtly love ran the pragmatic world of marriage alliances. We've talked about marriage alliances, particularly when we talked about royal weddings and some of the Tudor scandals and forbidden loves. We talked about how marriages were these orchestrated events, especially for noble families, but even for non-noble families. If you were a member of the gentry and you wanted to get more land, you would figure out how to marry your daughter off or your son off to the right person. It was I feel like the only people who really had freedom in who they were marrying were the super poor people. But even then, that would be dictated by the fact that they didn't have a lot of freedom to move wherever they wanted, but they kind of had some freedom in who they were going to marry. But especially among the nobility, these marriages were seldom matters of personal choice, but they were strategic alliances crafted to consolidate power, wealth, and influence. Matchmakers, often senior family members or even the monarch themselves, take, for example, Henry VI with marrying Margaret Beaufort to his half brother, played a crucial role in negotiating these unions, balancing the web of political, economic, and social considerations that accompanied each prospective match. The role of the monarch as a matchmaker cannot be understated, with monarchs like Elizabeth I taking a keen interest in the marital affairs of her courtiers, wielding marriages as a tool of political strategy. The queen's involvement in arranging marriages and even then playing marriage counselor when the marriages didn't necessarily work out underscored the intersection of personal relationships and political expediency at the Tudor court. For example, Bess of Hardwicke, when she had a marriage that was going south very quickly, would write a lot of letters to Elizabeth I explaining how the marriage was going wrong and she be freed of the marriage and what should she do. And like the monarch was very much involved in these marriages of their nobility. Also, they wanted to make sure the nobility was aligned properly with their own cause, right? So after the Wars of the Roses, for example, Henry VII made a big act of making sure that Yorkists were married into families that supported him, thereby kind of tying them to the Lancastrian cause, to the Tudor cause. So it was a big deal. The negotiations were complex, involving dowries, land exchanges, and titles, with each marriage shaping the social and political landscape of Tudor England. So, this interplay between, on one side, the lofty ideals of courtly love and then the pragmatic considerations of marriage alliances reveals a society where the heart and crown were often at odds. And in fact, it has been said that some of the rituals of courtly love actually were to provide a place for people to have those kind of natural flirtations that would come, everybody likes to engage in flirtations. If your marriage was arranged, it might be fun to have an outlet that everybody approves of where you can engage in these flirtations and this banter and this stuff that's like fun, right? Humans like to do that kind of stuff. And so providing them a way to do it within rules that everybody can agree on, that was kind of a way to alleviate some of the tension and stress that came from marriages that were only arranged, right? So it was like, all right, over here's work, and then we play over here sort of thing, I suppose. And hey, we're going to take a quick sidebar because if any of you are listening, watching this from anywhere around central Pennsylvania, I sing with the Harrisburg Choral Society, and we have a concert this Sunday at Camp Hill Presbyterian. I mention this to listeners of this channel because we're singing pieces that were sung at the coronation of King Charles. So we're singing Zadok the priest. We're singing some beautiful Weelks. There's a Weelks, Lord Grant the King a Long Life, that was sung at the coronation. A bunch of coronation music. So if you are at all interested in listening to some cool music, it's a fairly short concert. It's like an hour and a little bit. Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m., Camp Hill Presbyterian. Also, it's going to be live streamed. So if any of you want to watch it live online, I will throw the Facebook link up. I think they're streaming it on the Facebook page. So that might be kind of fun if you're in the area and want to come listen to some fun choral music. Sunday, March the 3rd, 3 p.m. All right, moving back on, let's talk about some specific examples of courtly love and matchmaking. One of the most compelling instances of courtly love entwined with political ambition is, of course, Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. Anne was initially a lady in waiting to Catherine of Aragon, caught the eye of Henry with her wit and charm, embodying the unattainable object of courtly desire. She made herself completely unattainable to him. Their courtship was marked by the exchange of letters and gifts, played out against the backdrop of the king's desperate quest for a male heir. And of course, this pursuit in the guise of courtly love ultimately led to the break from the Catholic Church, the establishment of the Church of England, a monumental shift driven by a king's desire for a woman who initially played hard to get in accordance with the rules of courtly love. Then, of course, she was kind of brought down with that as well, with her courtiers and some of the people around her. Because when she was married and she was queen and the courtly love had been attained, all of that, she probably should have stopped playing it. But, the story goes that she didn't. Of course, there's a lot more to it than that. And we have talked about that in other videos, so I won't get into it. But that is, of course, the story about her. Elizabeth's court as well was center stage for the delicate dance of courtly love with the queen herself, right in the middle of it all in the relationship between her and Robert Dudley, Earl of Leicester. Their lifelong friendship and rumored romantic entanglement, never culminating in marriage, exemplify the tension between personal affection and royal duty. Dudley, despite his marriage to Amy Robsart, remained a favorite of the Queen, his presence at court a constant source of speculation and intrigue. Matchmaking in Tudor England, while less romanticized, was no less significant in shaping the political landscape. The marriage of Mary Queen of Scots to Francis of France, the strategic alliance that reinforced the Auld Alliance between Scotland and France, was a union orchestrated by powerful figures of both realms to fortify their Catholic bond against Protestant England. Similarly, marriage negotiations involving Elizabeth I, such as those with the Duke of Anjou, were laden with political implications. Each proposal carefully weighed for its potential impact on the balance of power in Europe. The legacy of courtly love and matchmaking in Tudor England extends far beyond the historical record, permeating the cultural fabric of subsequent generations. These practices have been romanticized in literature and film, often portrayed as the epitome of passion and romance, yet the realities were complex, entangled in power, politics, and social duty. Works such as Shakespeare's sonnets and plays and more recent films like Elizabeth reflect and reinterpret the dynamics of Tudor courtship for contemporary audiences, sometimes amplifying the romance while glossing over the politics. These practices also were not just romantic or social rituals, but they were integral to the governance and stability of the realm. The courtship rituals and marriage strategies of the Tudor period offer a fascinating lens through which to view the interconnections between personal desire and political necessity, revealing a world where heart and crown were I can't talk right now, inextricably, it's a weird word, inextricably linked. The enduring fascination with these stories speaks to the universal themes of love, power, and duty that continue to inspire us through the ages. So, my friends, that is it for this video, and that will wrap up Love Month. Tomorrow, we are starting with Women's History Month, so that's going to be fun. We're going to explore some of the lesser known Tudor women. Just a reminder that members of this channel get all kinds of cool perks like author chats. Actually, later today, we're having one with Janet Wortman. She's going to be talking about Douglas Howard to kick off Women's History Month. Douglas Howard had a love child with Robert Dudley. So we're going to be talking about that. She's also going to be talking about that at TudorCon this year. So stay tuned for that. But the point is, if you want to hop in and join in these chats live, become a member of the channel and you'll get all the announcements and all the Zoom links and everything like that. We do one author chat a month. Members also get extra episodes. At the second highest level, you start to get free audio courses every month. This past month was the one on Henry VII and the consolidation of power. The month before, we did one on the Wars of the Roses. So cool stuff. When you become a member, you can just click join this channel to become a member. Or if you wind up ever listening to this in a podcast, you can become a patron on Patreon if that's easier for you too. Patreon.com/EnglandCast or click join this channel. So look, if you have made it to the end of this episode and you're still here, I sure would appreciate a press of that like button. And I hope I earned your subscription to my channel where I put out fun content like this on the regular. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to drink your water. I have this. This is a bottle of water I got in Iceland and I kept it. I brought it on the plane and I kept it and I keep refilling it because it makes me feel like I'm still in Iceland when I drink my Icelandic water. Of course, it's not Icelandic water because it's like water from my sink, but it's written in Iceland. It's from Iceland. Don't forget to drink your water. Be well. I will speak with you soon. Thank you so much for being here and spending your time with me. Bye-bye.